I was just lucky at the time, honestly. Like it's like everything that went wrong in the end went right for me. Like it's what I needed it. I needed that dark time, and it really helped me realize how far I could go, and like what was the, it was definitely a dark side of it, and like knowing how dark things can be and how in your own mind and how scary things can be.
Yeah.
But really rewarding in the sense that I've really found out, what I was made of, and found out I know that I have, a couple more gears that I can get to if I really want to. And so it's super rewarding in that. And at the same time, like I said, I was able to get all the noise out of my life.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, I have this idea. All right, I pitched it to my dad originally. He's like, you should do it. And so it's like, okay, with no noise left, I don't have distractions. I have nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take steps to see if I can make it happen.
Purpose in the Youth. Purpose in the Youth podcast. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Today in the studio, my bearded brother, founder of Adventure Aide, Connor Woolpert. What's good, brother?
Not too much, man. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, but it's always plus 2 points when I get a fellow bearded brother in here.
I
feel like
that.
I almost want to start a separate podcast called the Bearded Man Podcast.
Only bearded people.
Only bearded
I
guests.
like that.
Definitely going to be a very, very small market. Very niche. And the following might not be that big of opportunities, but I think it could be some great branding.
I do like it. It
could be some ideal branding.
Exactly.
Is this your first podcast? I didn't actually know
No, it's not my first.
So you've been around, you've done a couple of these.
I've been in a
big
few.
podcaster then.
No, not really. I wouldn't say that, but it's a different experience, but I love doing them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see and hear more about Adventure Aide today. You guys seem like you're killing it right now. Still very early on.
Yep.
We're looking at a little over 100,000 downloads. You guys are in multiple cities on the West Coast. You're clearly executing on the idea of Adventure Aide, which we'll get into in a little bit. But what do you think are the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur? Because you're in the pursuit of it. You are, I know, very young in the game, but you are making things happen for yourself.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I never, honestly, have ever looked at myself as an entrepreneur. And maybe it's the word, I don't know. I always looked at myself as like, I come from like a creative background. I love design. I love, bringing things to life. And so for me, I think, the most important thing is giving it 100%, whatever you're doing. I mean, whether it's your job, a business you're starting, creating a podcast, whatever it is, it's like, I don't think, the number one biggest value that, I know myself I could bring is like, I'm going to work as hard as I physically can. And at the end of the day, it's like, that's going to be the trait that I want the most. Like if I'm working hard and, I hold myself to the highest standard, I think, you're only going to, even if you did fail, for example, like, you never want to say that, but even if you do fail, it's like, at least I can rest my head at night and say I went hard. I went as hard as I physically could. I did what I had to do. And, I learned a lot.
And my thing is now it's like, what is failure though?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was even starting this podcast, I was nervous of like, what are people going to think of me? What if this doesn't work out? But now I've realized like, even if this quote unquote failed tomorrow, the amount of people that I've met, the stories that I've captured, at the end of the day, I know that it was success to me. So now it's like, what is the actual definition of failure for someone? Because I think we think it's this one thing, but it's actually not, because of everything that you are learning along that path of that journey.
I 100% agree. 100%. I think failure is a good thing. I mean, I fail almost every week, probably almost every day. And I think for me, it's like, I think success is a culmination of a lot of failure, and being accepting of that failure. I think, a lot of people fail at something or think they fail, whatever it may be. It's something in their head, thinking it's over, I can't do it anymore. And that is the biggest, turn off, where you let it affect you emotionally. And now you're down on it, and now you're like, all right, fuck, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. I'm out. I'm down and out. But like being able to switch your mind a little bit to take in those things is like, there's notes. They're just things to learn on and build on and say, I failed today. I did something wrong, or something happened that I didn't expect to happen. And why did that happen? What do I have to do to change it next time? And just being accepting of it and saying, taking accountability. And I think if you can do that, you're just going to learn exponentially faster.
Yeah.
And also you're just going to, you're not going to let things affect you emotionally. I think that's a huge problem, especially with people our age. Social media with, this generation of people who they expose everything, or they want people to think a certain way. They have an image, whatever it is. It's like people just think that they have to adhere to this thing in their head that isn't real. And, it gets people down, and they allow it to affect their emotions and allow it to affect like their actual mental state, when it's like, dude, you don't have to, that doesn't have to happen.
Yeah.
Like just self-awareness, I think, is a huge key to that. I think for me, like one of the biggest things I've learned through thick and thin is like just awareness. And I think people don't think about that enough, where it's the little, 3 to 5 seconds where you say something to me, or something happens, or something comes into my life or into my world. And, and most people don't have the 3 to 5 seconds. It just hits them. It affects their emotions, and
it's like a domino.
Their day, it's over.
The domino
exactly.
It goes.
And the day's over. Or like, oh man, fuck, my life's over. I can't do this anymore. Like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Like, oh. Versus like, no, take that little self-awareness nugget and be like, okay, what is this? Why is it happening? I'm not going to let it affect my emotions. I'm not going to let it affect my day or what I'm doing already. I'm just going to be accepting of it. And you just kind of got to ride the wave. I always tell people that. It's like, man, I used to get so caught up on like, from what I do, like bugs, app development, technology, just bugs that happen. And it was destroyed my brain. Like it was just on a daily basis.
There's always something, right? There's always something that
There's always something. But then you get to a point where I said, why am I letting this affect me? I'm getting so worked up. I'm getting so much anxiety. I'm just sitting back like, man, like letting this affect me, and I'm not productive anymore. Yeah. Versus, no, this is all, it's something that's always going to happen. It's okay. Let it happen, and just learn how to work through it consistently over and over.
Ride the wave.
Exactly. Ride the wave, man.
I think that's literally the title of the podcast.
Exactly. Ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
No, a couple things. One, I think the switch thing, right? Yeah. Flip the switch. The perspective, right? Yeah. Like when you can train yourself, because I don't think it just happens overnight. When you can train yourself to start looking for the positives in those negatives, you start to learn, you start to grow. But yeah, the awareness too of just like things happen. And one thing recently that I'm trying to get better at is just, this sounds crazy, but literally treating every day like a Sunday. Totally. So treating the day with calmness, treating it with like, just at ease. I don't know. I feel like every Sunday for a lot of people, it's just that easy day where, a lot of people relax. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But if you treat every day like a Sunday with that ease of just like, I'm just going to roll with it. Yeah. And if something pops up, which is inevitable with whatever you're trying to do, I'm just going to roll with the punches, make adjustments, and then get the small wins every day and keep pushing and keep grinding. Exactly, man. It's a daily battle. It's what it is. And it's like you said, if you can wake up or you start your day in a place where you're, I don't want to say comfortable, because that's not the right word at all. It's like you said, at ease. You're at peace. Yes. And you're prepared. You're ready to go. Exactly. It's the mental. You're in the zone. If you're looking at sports, whatever, you're in the zone. You're ready to go. Yeah. You're gonna be able to get through the day a lot more efficiently, and not let the nuances of everyone's life. Like everyone has shit. There's no question. We all have our own shit. We got personal. We got family. We got work. We got all this stuff happening all the time, and you have to learn, like, we were talking about just the awareness, like learn that it's okay. It's going to happen, right? Like just be accepting of that and keep moving every day. Like you said, I think the small wins are the biggest thing to learn for me too. Like I look at every day and say, was this a productive day? Did I get done that one thing that I know I wanted to get done? I write my 3 priorities down every day. Every day in the morning. It's 3 priorities. It's 1, 2, 3. These are the things I want to get done. And usually I categorize them. One's usually work. One's like mental or health, and then the other one's more like personal. Wow. I try to make sure I check those boxes every day, and because for me, before I was doing that, I would always get worked up like, man, I got 100 things to do. Holy shit. But taking a step back, what's the priorities? What matters to me, and what's going to affect a positive change moving forward the most? And taking these short wins and being able to check those boxes, there's so much reward for me, like internally, just being like, yeah, man, good day. Yeah. And tomorrow's gonna be better. Tomorrow's gonna be better. And just being able to do that, I think, helps simplify things, because man, life can be so complex. There's so much going on at any time, especially when you're running a business. You have all these things, these people that are coming to you probably needing your help or need questions to be answered, and you have all these things going on. Give me just one example though of like in the recent week or so? Like what did one of those days look like of the outline? What are the 3 tasks?
Yeah, 3 tasks. So let's say Thursday. I can remember vividly. So Thursday I woke up at 4 a.m. I had to leave from here to drive up to meet a potential investor. And so I wrote down 3 things. 1, I just wanted to present a pitch that I was happy about. I pitched this guy exactly the way I wanted to pitch him. 2, I was like, I really want to work out today and make sure that I burn a sweat, because I always know after I get done with a pitch, I have a lot of anxiety and I need to go figure it out. So,
and that's usually when you go work out?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then number 3, I was traveling through where my parents live, and I was like, all right, I want to make sure I stop and say hello to my mom and my dad however quick as it can be. And so I was able to do all 3, and I felt like it was a good day. So that was a good one.
Knock them out just like
exactly,
that.
just knocked them out.
And this, let's go to that childhood. That's San Luis Obispo.
San Luis Obispo.
First off, crazy name to say. Like,
I know.
That's a tongue twister. I don't know if you could say that 10 times fast, but I would not.
It's a big one.
I would not be able to handle it. Talk to me about this place. Like, what's it like for you growing up? What's the childhood like?
San Luis Obispo is an interesting place. It's a small town, college town. There's a college there called Cal Poly, but I always called it a bubble.
Bubble.
Very in a positive way. You know, like it's a great place to grow up. It's a fun place, but it feels like it's very separated from the real world. Meaning like you live in this bubble and you don't really get to experience these things that are happening everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
It's, the small town, good things are happening there. People are really positive. It was like rated happiest place in America by Oprah or something. Yeah,
Oprah,
a couple years ago.
Oprah co-signed it.
Oprah, yeah.
Oh,
Oprah's, I know. It's
That's
huge.
how you know it's real. That's how you know it's real.
Exactly. But it was like, it's one of those places, like it's super true. Like everyone I know there's really happy. It's a great place, but it is a bubble. And like I always was wanting to get out of that because it made you comfortable, like too comfortable and not willing to put yourself out there. And that's something that like scares the hell out of me. Not doing
complacency.
That. Yeah, complacency. And it's not meant to be negative. Like I totally respect people who like want to live a simple life and they're just happy with the day-to-day things.
Yeah.
But a person like me, I was like, man, I gotta get out of here because there's a lot I want to do, and if I stay here, I don't think I'll be able to do it because there's too much noise there that's telling you just relax,
just stay here.
Just relax. Yeah. It's all good. We're gonna be good.
Yeah, we'll find you a job. You're gonna be able to work it out. At how young were you starting to get this itch?
Oh, 10, 11, 12.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily around business or anything like that. It was just the itch that I knew I wanted to do more, and I just kind of always knew I wanted to do more. And like my biggest thing that I think I can hold on to the most that I remember since being a little kid was I just truly enjoyed pushing myself. Like there's something that brought extreme value to my life.
Yeah. In
the sense of being able to push my body, my mind, my spiritual presence, whatever it is. Like I just really enjoyed seeing how far I could take something. Like I always liked to go a step above anybody else, and it wasn't necessarily because I wanted to like feel better than anyone.
Yeah.
I wanted to see, okay, can I push myself off the edge? What is that like? What am I going to learn? And I feel like for me, those are the best moments because I'm able to honestly strip away all this noise, and it's very humbling. It's very scary at times, and you feel, it's pretty unhealthy at times, but it's the learning experience is through the roof. Like I truly get to know who I am and like what makes my engine go. Yeah. And so these little nuances like that.
Were you an athlete growing up?
I was, I played basketball.
Basketball. You know what? I came across a video from 5 years ago on YouTube, and I was like, I think this is him. It was you dunking.
Oh, yeah?
I think it was you dunking, and it was shot by your father. It was like a 15-second clip on YouTube, and I said, I think this is him because I recognized your father's name, Mark, and I said, is this Connor? Is he playing ball? Like, he got up to the hoop and slammed it down.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, this guy was nice.
Yeah, no, I played basketball, yeah. I originally was going to University of San Diego to play basketball.
You were committed to go there?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Wow.
So I had a lot. I was all in on it for sure. That was my first love. And like my big thing, I was super skinny as a kid. Like I didn't grow into my body till I was like 19, 20.
Yeah.
And so I was always, the super skinny kid. Never thought that I would make it, but, I got close.
So in high school, if I would have said, Connor, what's your dream job? You would have said going to the NBA, or were you more realistic of like I could play college or ball, but I don't know what I'm gonna do after that?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to play. I didn't really look super far ahead. I was more like I just knew I wanted to get to the next level and prove that I belong there, and just I like taking it day by day. And like my biggest learning moment for me was just that I realized I didn't really love basketball, and it was really positive. I didn't like the games. Like I didn't like playing in front of people and like doing anything like that. I loved the behind the scenes, the closed doors, like me by myself,
practicing,
or me with a coach, or me with one other person. Like that was what drew me to it all the time. And so once I, kind of figured it out, it was like, yeah, fuck, I shouldn't probably do this anymore.
Yeah, I know. It takes like a moment at some point where you kind of just wake up and you realize like this isn't meant for me. I was playing ball until sophomore year of high school, and then I just realized, I just had a lot of realizations of like I was starting to work, started to make money, so I was like, I actually enjoy making money. And it's stupid looking back, like, well, yeah, of course, everybody likes making money, but I just knew, looking in the long term, I wasn't going to be like the all-star athlete on the varsity team.
Yeah.
All my homies were on the team, so I ended up quitting basketball, but I was a team manager because I still loved like that brotherhood, and all my homies were on the team.
Totally.
But I knew that it wasn't worth my time or energy, or wasting anybody's time or energy trying to coach me when I knew this wasn't really like the true passion for me.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's nothing better than that. When you actually have that awareness to realize like, this is not my thing, or like I'm not fully invested in this. I don't love it. This isn't what drives me every day. And every time I talk to people who don't like their job, or like are in a shitty place, I'm always like, it
scares me, man.
No, just ask a question like, you don't like it but you still do it.
Yeah.
And they're in a fear of not being comfortable, fear of putting yourself out there and all these things. And it's like, man, you're never going to be happy, you're never be fulfilled, you're never going to enjoy the things you're doing. You're never going to learn, how far you can go, what you're capable of if you're stuck in your little box. So
I know. I honestly hear it more often than not because I drive Uber full time out in LA. So I end up being like the therapist for all the riders that I get in a day. And so yesterday I had somebody, I got them in my car and said, "Oh, how's your day going?" "Yep, just got out of work. Wasn't very happy about it." And in the back of my mind, of course, I'm not going to say something to this rider. I felt so bad because I'm like, man, life's so short.
Exactly.
In the world that we live in now, you can create these opportunities. You can actually take that idea that you love so much and turn that into your actual reality. But I don't know. I know it sounds so like, no, there's no way I could actually make a living making an app or starting a podcast, but it's like people are doing it.
Exactly.
Look on your YouTube, look on the internet.
They always make an excuse, and like it's, I feel like people are very detached. Like they look at, a podcaster, look at anyone who's doing something like, nah, I can do it. Mm-hmm. There's no way. Yeah. And it's like, why? Yeah. And like people, I always looked at it like LeBron James. People look at LeBron James and like, no, he's a specimen. No one else can do that. I'm like, dude, do you think that's all it took for him to be this good?
Yeah. You had to get lucky with the body. Yeah. That all plays a part, but he still had to put in the work and show up every single day. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, he had to put in the work, and like people just need to realize that the world is your oyster. Like it's at your fingertips. If you are willing to accept that and you're willing to be uncomfortable and put yourself out there, then you're going to learn a lot more, and you're going to actually, find out what you love to do and be able to experience things at the end of the day, which matters.
Yeah. Talk to me about your relationship with your father, Mark, and your brothers, Mitch and Patrick. How did they play a role in your childhood growing up?
Yeah, they played a big role. I mean, I'm the youngest. And so, I always looked up to my older brothers, obviously. One of my oldest brother, he played basketball in college as well. So I always looked up to him because I obviously wanted to do the same thing when I was young.
Was he dunking on you in the backyard?
No. He's a little shorter than me. He was a shooter. So no, he wasn't much of a jumper. Okay. But then same thing with my other brother. He was very smart. Like in a different, I looked up to him because he just understood things like on another level that I couldn't fully grasp. And he went to Georgetown and has done a lot of cool things in his life up to this point. And there's a lot I always tried to learn from him. Very different mind than my own. Yeah. Much more, I'm much more of a dreamer, and he's much more of a kind of grounded, but it's there's so much to learn from people like that.
Absolutely. You balance each other out. You can learn something from each other.
Exactly.
Two different people, but I think sometimes too, it's like realizing like everybody has their lane in this world. Yeah. And what you might want, what I might want, somebody else might not want. And sometimes it can be frustrating because you're like, well, how can you not want to dream so big and push yourself to these limits? But it's like, there are people that are just happy. Exactly. They're happy with what they do. Yeah. And just let them do it. If they're not complaining about their life. Exactly. And they're happy, awesome. Please keep doing that thing that you're doing.
100%. Yeah. Like it's yeah, it's everyone's different. They all have different, we all have different drives, different purposes here. Like, and you have to accept that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad has probably been my biggest inspiration for a long time. He just a different kind of guy. He, I always told him he had like two sides to him. One side of him was this, a successful entrepreneur who just, did everything under the sun, was an engineer, then became a lawyer, then got into healthcare, got into restaurants, like just kind of moved in a million directions, and was able to be really successful and start a company that has thrived up to this point. And it's been, cool to see that evolution. But at the same time, there's this other part of him that is this like beach bum surfer who just was like, man, I don't even need this stuff. Like, fuck, I just want to go surf.
Cash a check and let's get out of here.
Exactly.
Mail it in.
Was just so excited every day, to go out and do what he loves to do and surf. And it was constantly drilled into me from the youngest age of like, you just got to do what you love to do. Like, if you don't do that, then what are you doing in your life?
Yeah.
And so like that, I think that had a huge impact on me. And, yeah, just being around people like that, that were super successful, but at the same time, like, remember the important things. Remember the important things of going home and hanging out with their kids, going, taking them surfing, taking them out to eat, wanting to travel with them, like just like things like that. I think he
found the balance of it.
Oh, a huge balance, but he realized it wasn't a balance. It was he couldn't do one without the other. Like if he went into one fully, the other would suffer, and having both of those, they kind of made each other. Like being able to go outside of your job and go surfing with your kids, there's a lot of inspiration there that he could take back and put back into the job, and vice versa. And so it's kind of this ebb and flow, and people always call it work-life balance. And I honestly think that's just horse shit. I don't think it. I mean, like, dude, like live your life, enjoy every moment of it, work, family, whatever. But it's instead of balancing it, it's not like it's a balancing act. You're trying to do both all the time and do it as best you can. It's like they really do work together, and you don't necessarily have to bucket out your life. I always look at it that way. And people always ask me like, man, you don't ever do anything. Like, you just work. I'm like, dude, it's because I love it. Like,
yeah,
it's
not working.
I'm enjoying it, man. It's like, this is a blessing. Like, I'm so blessed to be able to do this. And why wouldn't I give it everything I have? Sorry, I don't want to go out and hit a bar with you and like talk about a bunch of nonsense. Like, I got things to do, man. I'm excited. And I'm excited. And so, it's just shifting your mind. Like, when you have an opportunity, you got to grab a hold of it and go 100%.
Yeah. It's good to hear that and I don't want to call it the work-life balance, because I know we're not a fan of that.
But yeah, what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. But it's cool to hear that he was able to balance that, though, because I think a lot of times, especially maybe in movies, you see like the father who was in finance and worked 100 hours and didn't have a good relationship with the kids, and it's like this huge thing. But the fact that he's kind of pushing those early messages onto you, like, you got to do what you love, because as you're saying that, literally I'm seeing my father the same thing since I was a kid. No matter what you do, as long as you love it, we'll support you. Just grounded that in me. So then when I got to that point in my college career of like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Yeah. Do what you love. Do what you love.
Exactly.
And it's just it's good to hear that that's kind of like the route that your father was approaching it. What were some of like the early adventures he was taking you on? Because I know you had mentioned something about a trip that he had brought you guys on, but do you remember kind of your first like adventure or travel time with him?
Oh man. Oh, first one. Yeah, first probably one I can remember is we went to Costa Rica, and I was probably 3 or 4.
Still vividly remember it?
I can vividly remember it, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Different experience.
Yeah.
But my dad, he spends a lot of the time of his year down in Costa Rica, so it's like it's a home away from home for me. So we go down there all the time. So this was like my first experience. He had been going down there since the 80s.
Wow.
And so we went down there, and where we went, it's called the Osa Peninsula. It's the most like biodiverse rainforest in the world. But you're in the middle of the jungle, like this is far out. You got to take one plane to a little skipper plane onto a little
prop
boat.
Plane. You got to
little prop. Then you take a boat, and then you got to swim in, and like it's like you're in the middle of the jungle.
Wow.
And so we went down there, and this is the first time I was there, and we were, like I said, in the center of the jungle. And luckily, obviously, the ocean's like 150 yards away. We were going surfing, but all we had was a little cement pad. And we had tents, and we were staying down there, and it was like 100 degrees.
Oh, man.
And the mosquitoes. I can just remember the whole experience, and it was just one of those things where you know, in the moment, I was probably like, oh man, this is
why
rough.
am I here? Yeah.
But you look back and you're like, man, I'm so glad I did those things. Like now it's like, I love going to the jungle. I don't mind sleeping in a tent. Like it's fun, man.
And
it's
disconnecting too from the world. Like
exactly.
that's going back to humans before we had anything. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy. So you mentioned that you were going to go to San Diego for ball, but then you ended up going to Cal Poly and San Luis Obispo. So walking into college, do you have any idea what you're about to study, what you're about to do after school? Like, what was your inspiration of even going to Cal Poly?
Yeah, I can kind of explain it to you. There was no inspiration for me going to Cal Poly, honestly. No, yeah, it's cool. It's not. I don't want to sugarcoat. I'll be honest. I'll be totally real with you. And I've never said this on camera, but I don't mind. I was gonna do it anyway soon.
Wow.
But no, going through high school, I had, you know, I always battled myself. Like I had an internal voice, and like again, I cared so much about playing basketball at the time that that's all I ever thought about. My senior year of high school, I tore my rotator cuff of my shoulder, tore my labrum, pinched this ulnar nerve. So
all separately, like this, or is this?
No, all at once.
All
so I lost feeling in this finger and the side of this finger and the side of my arm. And I was down and out, and you know, I really affected me. Like I didn't know can I ever play? Like what am I going to do now? But I kind of got into a bad way with myself, and you know, and I don't have to get too detailed into it, but basically, I started taking, you know, painkillers and drugs to sustain my shoulder because it was a painful daily thing, and I could still play at a certain point. I knew I was going to go play again, and with the injury and there's no change in it, and it was basically like a limp arm. And so I kind of got into, you know, a weird habit, and like definitely negative affected me over time. But, you know, kind of rolled into San Diego right after that thinking like, yeah, this is great. Or like not necessarily caring as much as I used to. And like my mental state I was just in a different place. Like I was really confused, and I didn't really care about school. I didn't care about basketball. Went down there, initially failed a drug test, and like for the
basketball, because they test you on that.
Yeah, and then I failed a physical. So it was all these things. So it was like, you know, 18-month recovery time, and I was like, yeah, fuck this, dude. I'm not doing that.
Wow.
And they're like, it was just serious, and like I didn't want to talk. I was 18, luckily, so I didn't have to tell my parents about all this stuff. But it was like I was so scared and like not knowing what to do. And then at the same time all this stuff was happening, my dad back home was diagnosed with cancer. And so I was having like this, it was like a full breakdown for me personally. Like I was like, man, fuck, what am I going to do? I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I was doing. Like my mental state was just, it was gone. Like I wasn't myself. I wasn't there anymore. You know, it was weird. I was very like, I can't even rarely remember it. And people always ask me about it. I'm like, I don't honestly remember.
How long of a phase was that? Like it was just this big.
Dude, it's a battle, man. It's from age 17. I mean, all the way up to like age 22. So I mean, like, but it got way better. The hardest part was like 18. So I moved back home right after I failed, and like I made up this monstrous excuse to my parents, like I don't want to be here anymore, and
wow.
And I talked about my dad, and like my dad told me about what's going on with him, so it really was like, fuck this, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
So I moved back in with them, and again it was tough, like just seeing your parents like that, and like it was just dark. Like he was like accepting of the impending doom that he thought was coming to him, and so it was just like, man, it was hard to watch.
And that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. And so we, you know, I just kind of was stuck in my own little world for a little while, and like it was a dark time, but like I learned so much at that time. Like I barely had friends. I barely did anything. I barely left the house. It was like 6 months. I wasn't going to school until the next quarter, which was the spring. And so it's just in this, you know, in my own head trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do. And so like it got dark, you know, it got really dark for me. And like at the same time, I was still battling this drug addiction. I still battled that up, like I said, for years, but I was able to really spend some quality time with my dad. And that was, I think, a huge turning point for me right there. It was like being able to step back from my life, and like it basically removed all the noise. Like you've just separated yourself from everything, and not the healthiest thing, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was able to soak in a lot of things and reevaluate everything I was doing. I'd read a lot of books. Like I said, all I did was go to the gym, read books, sit at home. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't do anything outside of that. And it's really the time when Adventure Aide really popped into my mind, and I started really toying with the idea. And so like I spent countless hours just brainstorming, and then luckily I had my dad there, right? So this guy, he wasn't doing anything either. So it was the same kind of thing. So we went through it, and he was the first person I started pitching it to and throwing the concept at, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. What's holding you back? And so that, I was just lucky at the time, honestly. Like it was like everything that went wrong in the end went right for me. Like it's what I needed it. I needed that dark time, and it really helped me realize how far I could go, and like what was the, it was definitely a dark side of it, and like knowing how dark things can be, and how in your own mind and how scary things can be. Yeah. But really rewarding in the sense that I've really found out, what I was made of, and found out like, I know that I have, a couple more gears that I can get to if I really want to. And so it's super rewarding in that. And at the same time, like I said, I was able to get all the noise out of my life. Yeah. And be like, okay, I have this idea. All right, I pitched it to my dad originally. He's like, you should do it. And so it's like, okay, with no noise left, I don't have distractions. I have nothing. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take steps to see if I can make it happen. So that's kind of
the thing is we do as looking back on it at the time when you're in that moment of like going through some real tough shit. Yeah. Nobody wants to be there. Yeah. But there is so much you learn about yourself in those months, because you have nothing but time to just reflect and think. And I bet too, just you're growing, because you're growing up with your family, you're living with them, and it isn't until you leave for college that you're probably like finally away from them. Yeah. And so now you're going back with obviously not good things happening in San Diego. No. You're going back to where you lived. Then your father gets hit with this, but now it's like you're a different person living there, because you appreciate being in that moment. You're appreciating more to be with them again than you did ever before. You're just going through the motions all the time, and then it's like finally when it's not until you leave something and you come back to it, you're like, wow, like this has literally been right in front of me all of my life, but I probably just took it for granted.
Oh, 100, yeah, exactly. And it's just that awareness, like you said, we talked about it earlier, just being in the moment. That was huge there. I had nowhere else to be. Yeah. Like I was stripped away of everything that I thought I knew before. Like, I had stripped away of, where I thought I was going, stripped away of the route I thought I was on. And so I just, everything was taken from me in a positive way. And I did it to myself. That's the thing. It's like, that's the crux of the whole situation. I'm not a person to ever blame
somebody else.
Not blame anyone else or blame, your environment. Like that's bullshit. I did it to myself, and I know I did it to myself, and that there's real reward in that. And knowing, like, again, it's just like taking accountability of that. It only empowers you in the long run. So, I mean, it was just a dark time, but a moment of stillness where you can recalibrate, and I could really understand what I needed to do.
Yeah. So talk to me about like, what was the moment? I know you kind of were like brainstorming ideas, and so you're going through this moment of like trying to figure out what's the next step for your life. You're in a tough time, but you end up creating an app it's pulling people outside to do those adventure things. So was this more of like you were looking for something that would pull you outside? Like what was that moment that it finally clicked for Adventure Aide for you?
Yeah, no, it was definitely like going back to my roots and like looking at all the things I had done growing up, especially like the things my dad, my brothers, people around me had influenced me to do, and just biggest memories I have were these moments where I was outside. I was in Costa Rica. I was just surfing. I was sitting on my board, just bobbing in the water. I was hanging out with friends on the beach. I was, hiking a mountain and camping on the top and telling stories. Like there's everything that I remembered, everything I valued, and I didn't realize I valued, was all these experiences with other people, and these experiences where I was stripped of, all the noise. I was stripped of everything, and I was put in the moment. Like the biggest thing for me was I was put in the moment, and I was like, man, like there's nothing out there right now where people have that opportunity. And I always was looking at it from a different angle too, of like I really wanted to try and create something where people could make money doing what they love to do. And it was trying to take again, another thing from my past of like everything my dad had taught me and things I was trying to do myself. I was like, man, I really want to do something around passion and inspiration and try and provide a tool or something to help people make money doing what they love and get them out of their hamster wheel, out of their shitty cubicle 9 to 5, whatever it is. To like get them out there, get them doing things. And so that's really where the inspiration all came from. And it was just, for me, and originally it was just brainstorming. It was like, write as many ideas and possibilities down as you possibly can, and just and talk to people and just see what you could possibly do. Was
there any other big idea that you were you were hesitant about jumping on board, or was Adventure Aide pretty much the one that you knew had to be the only option?
No, I think there's definitely other ones, but Adventure Aide was like a light bulb moment for sure. It was one of the right when I thought of it. Initially, like literally in the first 10 seconds, I was like, that sounds interesting.
That's how I felt when I was like brainstorming this podcast. I was like, there's not a market for it, and there's definitely people looking for this. I think I might be onto something.
Exactly.
You kind of just have that moment of just talking it through.
Yeah.
So 2014 is when that light bulb moment kind of happens, and it's not until 2017 is when the app is finally launched. Talk to me about some of the biggest challenges with, you have this idea to executing an app. Yeah.
I mean, so for me particularly, I didn't like it. The whole marketplace experience market that, is actually a big thing these days wasn't around back in 2014. And so I first needed to understand if there's even validity to it. Like, it made sense to me, and I was like, man, this sounds really cool. Like, is it feasible? Is it possible? And so, like, originally I would pitch it to people, and they always like, that's a pipe dream. That's never going to happen. People don't want that. There's no need for it. And you just hear that, and it's that awareness, like, yeah, fuck you. It's like, just gives me...
You're not on board? See you later.
Yeah, it's just motivation. You can't let that bring you down, man. Just let it motivate you. Yeah. And then I found the first two people that are part of the Adventure Aide team, and hearing their passion for it was like, yeah, they loved it. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. I've finally heard other people say this is really cool. And then we call it beta test. We went through testing with no technology, and we're just like, is it feasible to get people outside to do these things consistently? And like, do they want to? Do they actually want to do it? And so we would just run these tests and like our first one ever was we had this girl lead a yoga hike, and we went climb this mountain. There was like 18 people, and we did this 1 hour yoga on top of this mountain overlooking San Luis Obispo. Really, really cool spot.
Wow.
And I was just trying to sit there, like take a step back and like just feel it out and see what happened, what things weren't working well, what were working well. And it was just really a really enlightening experience where people, like, the human connection element of it was really powerful, and like something that I didn't really understand before. But, you had 18 people, and not everyone knew each other. Rarely, like 2 or 3 people were in groups. No one else, they didn't really cross over there. No one knew each other. And by the end of it, like on the way back down the mountain, everyone's like, you guys want to go get like beers or like hang out after this? And like, yo, what's your phone number? What's your phone number? And like watching this interaction happen, you're like, man, wow, like no way. Like people are like, this is super cool. You're watching people like connect with each other.
Yeah.
And it was so powerful. And like this, I think that ability to take people out of their, all their noise and take them and put them in a place where they're in the moment.
Yeah.
And they're really able to connect with each other. It doesn't just help them and help them, have this just experience, this memory, something they can hold on to, but then they get to meet these other people, and it's like they're stripped away of all this stuff. They're, as much as I love social media, there's the bad part of it in the sense of like, it's all some people care about.
Yeah. You're living literally in another world.
Exactly.
If you think about it.
Yeah,
You're literally just consumed by this media that it's like, it's literally just another world that you're creating your life depending on what you post and what you're putting into the world.
Exactly.
But it is a whole different world.
Exactly. And so like these were real moments where it's like, man, we're able to actually connect people in real life and like get them out there doing these things. And like, there's so much opportunity everywhere you go to do these things. They're everywhere. You just don't know it. And it's like, it's like not everyone's going to go and research and like, do it themselves. It's like I wanted to create something where people had this opportunity to go out and experience everything that made a place what it is. And stuff that they wanted to do. And we call them themes, but I really wanted to do these things where it was, whether it was, physical wellness or like people who wanted to break a sweat or, another element, they wanted to connect with friends, or another element, they wanted to, get to know the area in a different way. Or maybe they wanted to learn something new like archery, or maybe they wanted to, experience something under the stars and go camping for the first time. They just don't know how. It's just like getting people the chance to do things. Like that's all I ever cared about was like these opportunities to do. That's what it's all about, man.
I think it's also too important of like realizing there's more things going on around where you live than you think. Like sometimes we think we have to go to a destination to go on vacation or to try something out of the norm where maybe I don't know about this hike. Maybe I didn't know somebody's willing to teach me how to surf. Maybe I didn't know there is a super dope yoga spot on the top of the mountain. You know, like, it's literally utilizing the place that you already live in, and you can go and try these different things on every weekend or maybe even the weekday.
Whenever you want, man. And it's like, you know, even like this, it's the fun, unique stuff that I love. Like we have a guy who does outdoor cooking on the beach in Malibu.
Oh my God.
Super cool. Like it's fun stuff. The guy's a great chef. He teaches you how to use literally natural items to cook like a really good steak.
Yeah.
And it's like the trippiest thing. But at the same time, it's like, there's all these fun things to do and these fun opportunities. And it's like, man, you just got to provide them for people because, you know, we all get stuck in our own worlds and you know, every life moves fast and like there's just shit hitting us all day, every day.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's good to take, you know, one time a week, one time a month to go out of your way and experience something and you know, and make that memory and just do it. Cause I guarantee you at the end of the year, you're not going to remember those days of work. You're not going to remember those times you're on your phone. You're not going to remember any of that shit. But you're going to remember the memory of you in that moment doing those things. And like, there's so much to say about what it can actually do for you. And, you know, the big thing for me in terms of tech, like people in the tech world, at least that I work with, they have a hard time understanding the value of doing these things. And so like the beauty for me is this marriage of technology and like experiences in the outdoors, which are so like, so different. But there's a perfect marriage to be had because now with technology where it is in 2019, we have such a great opportunity to quantify the value of doing this thing. And there's so much to do and it's so fun to be able to showcase that to people. And like instead of me, you know, if you were a user on our app and you came on and like instead of me having to pitch you for a minute like I am right now or like trying to describe what it is, I want to be able to use technology to be able to do that for me. And be able to show you like, holy shit, I can do this hike and I get all this stuff out of it. And like, that's what matters. It's just fun, man. It's like, it makes for a good time and it makes there's just a ton of value in it. And people just don't understand that you know, certain, especially Silicon Valley tech people. And so it's fun being on the forefront of it.
And that's why now, you know, you're probably at a prime state with the app now, but even just clicking into it now, it's very simple and very easy for people to just, like you said, it is selling without selling. If that makes any sense, right? Like very user friendly, pictures that pull you in, descriptions, like here's the person that's hosting it. This is what it's about, you know? So it's like, it's awesome too that you can utilize technology to be the pitch without pitching it. And just like let it speak for itself. This is what we have to present. This is what we offer. These are all the different opportunities that you have with us. If you want to join us, like, please do. If not, come back in a month or two or try us later.
Exactly. It's not a hard sell. It's like, it's not a product. I'm not trying to pitch you on an energy drink or something, you know? It's like, I'm trying to pitch you on experiencing things. And like, if you don't want to do it now, no big deal. Come back later. Do something you like.
I had actually it was Jake Casson. He had asked me a question during the podcast towards the end. He said, you know, what is happiness to you? And something that I've been trying to figure out, but I think I figured out, and my answer was experiences. It's like I've gotten much better at realizing like money or like buying items is not going to be the thing that makes you the happiest. But going on an adventure or going and experiencing something, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a certain part of town I've never been to, whether it's a view, that to me is priceless. So it's like I'm more open to spending money on an experience that I will never forget, kind of like what you were talking about. In a year, you're not going to remember the certain days you worked, but you'll remember the experiences. It's like I'm willing to spend money on stuff because I think the mental health of that is priceless. Like you see the money dishing out. Maybe it sounds like a lot, but I think you end up being mentally more healthier and you just are more present and enjoying life. And I don't know, it pulls you away from all the madness of
there's no question. There's no question, man. There's like we've been working on something this month around mental wellness, and you know it's interesting to read stories now where there's actually doctors who prescribe hiking for people with anxiety and depression.
Wow.
And it's, you know, not for everyone, but it's really, really cool. It's so simple. That literally strip yourself of your phone, strip yourself of everything, you know, you're doing, and drive your car somewhere, get out, walk up a hill that's really cool, and sit there.
Yeah.
And
just be outside, especially in Southern California. We got to take advantage of the
we
sun.
Got it here.
Dude.
Exactly, we got it here.
The sun is out here year
it's
round.
So true. I mean, no, you can't beat it. Yeah. But it's just the simplest things, man. It's like you forget to do the simple things sometimes, and it's so rewarding. Like, you know, I feel much better when I do things like that, and like just even 5 minutes of it. I go outside in your backyard, sit down, soak in the sun a little bit.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you're going to be more productive. Or you're going to have a better mindset, you know, through the rest of the day. And it's just the little things like that.
Yeah, I had a fan question. Austin Cole, shout out to Austin Cole. He wanted to ask, what were some of the most effective growth hacks for the initial users? How did you get people interested and wanting to download the app early on, especially when you're, you know, it's a little bit easier now. When I'm sure it's still a process, but probably much harder in the beginning when you're like, yeah, we have 500 people that have downloaded this app. How did you get people to initially want to download it?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, so two things. One was like, I always told the team there's going to be a switch moment. And I knew it was going to happen. It's in the process of happening right now, where we're not going to have to go out and like reach out to people and like get them to come in and have to be like overselling ourselves and trying to beg and plead and get people to come on. And that's something you have to do in the beginning. You always have to do it, but there'll be this moment where everything turns and it's going to be just all coming in on its own. And that's something that is incredibly important to know, just to know, you know, when you're going into something, you have to know the process. You have to understand that in the initial beginning, it's going to be very hard, and it's always going to get harder. But at the same time, you know you're going to have to go out of your way to do anything and everything to get people to come into it and use it. And just know there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like eventually it's going to switch. You just have to be okay with the process and don't let it beat you down. You just have to know what's happening.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for us was it was great experiences. It was great adventures. It was like, let's just find things that we want to do. We don't need to overcomplicate it. Like, I really want to go horseback riding on the beach, or I really want to do, you know, I really do like yoga hikes. There's something really rewarding about breaking a sweat and like getting a good workout in, then getting a really awesome stretch and like, man, you feel really good. It's pretty trippy.
Yeah.
But that was our big thing. Let's just find things people love. Like, we got sandboarding. We found a guy who has these sandboards that he waxes a certain way and he takes them down these huge sand dunes. And like, it's stuff
it's like the sledding of the East Coast.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So that was the big thing. And from there it was like, okay, we knew we had to leverage social media and leverage content. Like, we always, everything we're saying, we want to show people, and it was the simplest approach. So like, I always looked at it as, you know, I'm sure you've seen Red Bull commercials, you know, like they're epic. Like, I get goosebumps watching
every time.
But then, you know, at the end of it, I'm like, fuck, they're selling an energy drink. I don't really want that energy drink. Yeah. But I wanted to do everything in between, and I'm like, man, why don't we do something the same way? Obviously, it doesn't need to be insane where the 1% of athletes can do it, but showcase awesome, you know, landscapes with people doing really cool, unique things. Yeah. And, you know, people want to come do it. It's like, it's just, if you show cool things and you sell, all you're selling is that cool thing. And I'm not trying to upsell you on a t-shirt or something. Yeah. It's going to sell itself. Yeah. It's just genuine. It's like, I'm not hiding anything. We're not trying to, you know, market you to do something, you know, different at the end of the process. We just want you to go do these things. Yeah. So just keeping it really simple and knowing, like, let's get great things, and then let's make sure we can showcase those great things.
Yeah, I will tell you, man, the content you guys put out is incredible. Like the YouTube channel. Yeah. That was something that really caught my attention when I was especially just researching for the podcast. Yeah. Of like, one, it's great content. It's documenting like your guys' journey. It's showing the people that work behind the scenes. It's like, people love a brand, but they also want to see the people behind it. Totally. And just seeing like that same high energy kind of like, we love this brand, sells you even more. You're like, damn, I need to be part of this. I need to like be checking out Adventure Aide. Totally. But just like the content of documenting, I just think is super important too. I don't know. It's like showing people that process makes them appreciate that brand more. And then I think it also too, even more so, it's going to be more appreciated for you. Yeah. When things pick up and continue to get better, because you're always going to be able to look back and be like, go look at that first video, that first 10 videos. Like, this is where we started. it's not just a memory for you.
Totally.
It's something you can share to the world and be like,
Totally.
This is where we started and this is where we took it to.
Yeah.
But the content, man, it's phenomenal.
No, I appreciate that. And, you know, a big thing that we wanted to do from the beginning, and I think Casey, who's our marketing director, he's a huge influence on me and a huge influence on the content. That's his thing. He brought it to me and was like, content, man.
Yeah, I love
sold it.
Shout out to Casey.
Yeah, he sold it hard. But yeah, the transparency. Like, we really wanted to do something where we take the veil from consumer to company, and you take off that veil and that in between state. Be like, we're real people. Like, we love this stuff, man. And like, you know, we want to show you what it's like, show you the good times, the bad times, show you, you know, bring you into the content with us, do stuff with us, and like, it's just, you know, it's meant to be more authentic. Like, this is who we are. We're not faking anything. We're not trying to showcase something that we're not. Like, this is just what we do and how we like to do it. And and I think that has a big impact, just being genuine. And, you know, at the end of it, we're just trying to create a community. And I know a lot of companies say that, a lot of tech companies especially, and it comes off so fucking cheesy.
I know.
But for us, it's like, we do real life experiences. We take people into the real world. And so it means something to us. And so we like to have that reflect in everything we do. And I think content is the greatest vessel to kind of get that message out there and showcase to people, you know, the opportunity. And
you could see through the bullshit when people, the fluff of like, we're trying to build a community, we're trying to do this. At least for me, I've gotten a radar. I'm like, within about 3 to 5 seconds, I know if somebody's bullshitting me or if they're actually true about what they're saying. Yeah. And that's very obvious through the content. Like, it's very obvious that these people like genuinely believe in the product that they're building with you. Because that I think is one of the most important parts, because if you're not building a team that genuinely believes in it, man, that's like, you're screwing yourself, because they're going to look out at this app as if it's theirs. Yeah. And they're going to be making sure that I punched in my 40. I'm all set for the week. Totally. Like, they're making decisions based on as if it was their own baby, because they want to see it grow. They genuinely believe in the product.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important. I look at it kind of 2 ways. One, like, the biggest thing, honestly, I've learned this from the very beginning, and it's the simplest thing, and I don't know why more people don't take it to heart, especially when they're trying to start a business. It's surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. It is that simple. Like, it's that simple. Yeah. And you never want to be around people who are like yes people, or people who just, you say something and they're not willing to respond to you genuinely, and they're holding back. Like, that is shit. You're never going to learn, and you're never going to be able to grow. But it really was that simple for me in the beginning, was like, I'm going to surround myself with the best people, and people who, number one, are a lot smarter than I am, but number two, care as much as I am, as much as I do. And those two as a recipe is just, it's been incredible. And like, I can see it in every person on our team. It's just, they all genuinely care, like you said, and it means a ton to me, and I would never have it any other way. You don't want to be around people who don't care. If they don't care, it's going to, you know, it just brings you down at the end of the day. And, you know, instead, like, I can stay up super late and we can talk about data. I can talk about data with an engineer, and we're like, dude, I can't wait, man. I'm so excited about that data. And like, there's so much fun in that. And I think you got to make sure that, you know, as anyone's starting a business, you got to make sure that you give the people you're working with the opportunity to speak their mind, and you let them own what they're doing. Like, let them own it. Let them run with it. Obviously, you want to help them where you can, but if you can give them that ownership to be like, you know, go do it, you know, believe in what you're doing, and like, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to make it happen with you. But I want you to take it and like allow you to think creatively about it. And providing that ownership, it like you were saying, it gives people that chance. A
little power.
Yeah, the power.
They're making actual decisions that are actually helping this company.
Exactly. And it's like, dude, you never know where good ideas come from. Like, we could have an intern, a guy doing a senior project, and he might come up with a brilliant idea that might change the game. I don't know. Yeah. Everyone has ideas. You just never know where it's going to come from. And everyone should have the same voice. You know, it's important that you give people that opportunity.
How many people are on the team now?
23.
How have you decided, or how do you find those 23 people?
Yeah.
Has this been word of mouth, like friend of a friend, or how do you make sure that when you're bringing somebody on, they're the right fit?
Yeah, most of them were word of mouth. So most of them were friend of a friend, but some of them were not. I think it all comes down to, you know, what they want out of it, and it comes down to the conversation you have with them. Like, I'm really blunt and upfront. Like, there's nothing to sugarcoat.
You said it before the podcast.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just gonna give it to you.
Yeah,
I love it. That's what I want.
Like,
that's what I want.
I don't want. You know, you can tell within 5. Like you said, I can tell really, really quickly of what someone's motives are.
Yeah.
And you just want people that are bought in and are here for the right reasons. They're burnt out. You know, they've worked for a corporate job for 10 years and like, fuck this, man. I want to do something that I care about and like have a say. I want a seat at the table to talk and like have a conversation about where things are going.
Yeah.
And there's just things like that you're looking for. And you're just looking for people who, care. And you know, they're going to put in the work, especially when they care. So it's not a difficult recipe. It's just, you got to be able to separate the bullshit from the people who really mean it. And we've done a great job. Everyone, I don't mean to even say it just to, say how good of a team we have, but every single individual cares. Like even, like I said, even to the intern, like they all care. And that's the beauty of it. That's kind of the
that's
beauty
what you need.
Exactly.
That's how you get everything to the next level.
Yeah,
you keep
man.
bringing in the right people that genuinely believe in it. And it's just, there's less things that you have to worry about because, people are doing their best interest to make this become bigger, become the next level of whatever it might possibly be.
Exactly.
The 4 values that I read online, pretty unique, and I want you to go into them. We have go the extra mile.
Yep.
Take the time.
Yep.
Keep it real and inspire community.
Yeah.
What is special about these 4 values?
Yeah, they're just simple, and I think there are the things that matter to us from the very beginning and like mattered to me and mattered to everyone on the team. And again, this is a collaborative thing for us. And initially it was coming up with those, and they're just, those things matter. Obviously take the time. It's, take the time to do what you love. Take the time to hang out with your family. Like, dude, work isn't everything. You have a life. Make sure you take care of that life, and your work will thrive because of that. And that's important for people to understand. And like, it's just a simple life lesson motto.
Yeah. And
it's something, that holds true with business. Keep it real. Like, be authentic, be yourself. Like, I'm not hiding anything. Everyone has a seat at the table. Everyone has a voice. Like, I never hold back. It's incredibly important to be honest. Like it's huge. And I think we've done a good job of that. And I think it's important in everything we do, like authenticity, loyalty, and like those things matter. And so just keep it real. Like you don't need to sugarcoat, whatever.
Yeah.
Inspire community. We touched on it earlier. It's like, we want to bring people together. Our product is getting people into the real world. And so for us, inspiring people to, come together is what we do. And we do community events. We do all these different things where you just get to watch people come together and collaborate. And it's such a fun thing because we don't come together and we're not selling each other on different things, but we come together and, we have some of our guides, they come in and they're like, oh man, we're doing this walking tour in Venice, but man, I'd love to bring in a one-wheeler. And then I'd love to, bring in the chef and we could do that beach bonfire barbecue. Yeah. And it's like, dude, this is fun, man. It's like, this is sweet. We're just putting together cool things. Yeah. Like you can't beat that. And then the last one was, keep it real, inspired.
Go the extra mile.
Go the extra mile. Yeah. Oh yeah. Go the extra mile. That's just give it your all, and everything you do, give it your all. And like, if you're working with anyone that's part of the platform, go the extra mile for them. Like put in the extra effort. It's just, it matters. And I think in 2019, where all tech companies are automated and you're mostly talking to robots or, you're talking to some account manager.
Outsourced or something like that.
Some guy in India.
Yeah.
It's like, we should go that extra mile, write that thank you card, call that person back, wish them happy birthday. Like that's just, it's the little details. And those things go a long way. And a lot of people don't think about it.
Don't realize it, especially in the world we live in now where it's like everybody's competing for maybe, I've never come across another Adventure Aide, but in general speaking, it's like, how do you stand out from everybody else? And it's those little extra things that's going to separate you, the happy birthday or giving the customer a call back or just making sure that if a customer complains, like, here's your money back and the next time you want to do this thing, it's on us. Just it pays off in the long haul. Yeah. And I think, it might be a one little small setback that day, but if you get them to come back next week and the month after that, and then they tell anybody about that experience, they're going to be speaking good about the company.
And it's nothing to be frustrated about, especially when someone complains, they want a refund or something's wrong. Like that's, as a business, you have to look at that as a positive. It's like something went wrong. I'm not going to be like, man, screw this person. Like, God. Yeah. No. They taught you something. Yeah. Something went wrong in the process that you did not account for, and they taught you what it was, and now you have to fix it. And like, beautiful. I'm going to fix it, and now it's going to work for the next person, the next person. And it's like, it's just a mental, a lot of people, tend to let the world happen to them, instead of controlling your own environment, people tend to let everything come in and affect them. And we talked about it a lot earlier, but and take ownership of it and just kind of switch that mindset and be like, no, this is great. I'm learning. Like this person taught me something now that I didn't account for. I need to fix it.
I'd rather figure out this issue with $100,000 so that when I'm at 10 million, this issue's already resolved.
Exactly.
And I'll cross the hoops or whatever I need to down the line.
Exactly.
The Adventure Aide people. Yeah. And I love how kind of even in the beginning or when we were getting to at least the app part, you were saying, you want to create something that people can make a living doing something they love or extra money. How do you kind of like account for these people and make sure like they're a right fit? What's that process of bringing them in? And it's a great concept because I'm looking at it as like this is like the Uber of adventures. They make their own schedule, they keep 80%, you get 20%. It's built around them. How are you making sure these are the right people for the brand?
Good question. So we really look at it in two ways. Obviously, we have the majority of our guides, we call them aides, adventure aides. They're individuals, and then there's a segment that's businesses as well. And we like to work with businesses as well because they can offer things that an individual really couldn't. Exactly. Like, an incredible climbing experience, a mountaineering experience for 10 days, dune bugging in the desert. Like there's just things, that there's a lot of opportunity there. And we just want to, at the end of the day, we're just trying to bring great opportunity,
as much opportunity
on the platform
as you possibly can get.
Exactly. You give people the best things to do. But in terms of individuals, it's all about, a really dialed in vetting process to make sure, you're bringing in the right people. And, everyone there's an approval process everyone has to go through. And my big thing is I want to make sure anyone who gets approved talks to someone from Adventure Aide before they're approved. And number one, because we're going to learn a lot more about that person by talking to them than any data or anything on the internet can tell us. And then there's trust built there. There's loyalty that'll come from that. Like that little human connection goes back to that. Really important. And just, we like to take a really collaborative approach with it. And, who are you? Oh, you're a yoga instructor? Oh, very cool. Okay. What do you want to do? Okay. They tell us, obviously they write up everything they want to do. And then we're just there to bounce ideas off. Like, how do you want to execute this? Do you want to have an add-on? Like, we found that if you provide water and a picnic along with the yoga hike, you're going to have X amount more bookings or whatever it may be. Wow. But it's more this collaborative approach to, number one, help them, but then number two, allow them to create and cultivate the exact adventure that they want to do and they're excited about. Because at the end of the day, if they're excited and they want to do it, obviously they already are. They're all the way through this process. But if you help them that little extra mile, like we talked about, they are going to be beyond excited. And having people that are that excited leading and taking these experiences, taking people out there on these experiences, I mean, it provides, one of a kind experience for people to go on.
I had seen that there was someone this weekend they were offering, I think in West Hollywood, it was like yoga brunch, and it was like yoga. I followed up with champagne. I was like, I gotta sign up for this one. But it's cool though that people have that ability to kind of create what they want to create as that experience. So it's like you could come across 10 different yogas happening in LA tomorrow or whatever city you're looking at the app in, but there's 10 different styles of that yoga being offered. That one's going to be the hike, one's just going to be literally yoga and that's it. One's going to have like the whole brunch and it's a whole morning afternoon thing. So it's cool that you guys not only are giving people a way to make money doing what they want to do or they love, but also let's help curate this a little bit more specific towards you and how can we make this a better experience and get you more people in the door.
Exactly. It's all about finding the person's niche. It's like there's tons of activities out there. There's yoga, there's paddleboarding, there's climbing, there's hiking, there's basic experiences. But how do we take that experience, that activity, and take it to the next level? And it's like taking that person's unique take on that activity, and you can turn it into this really personal experience. Yeah.
Talk to me about you guys back in it was April, I think, of 2018 when you moved to LA. Is that correct?
June.
It was June of 2018.
June. Yeah.
How important was that move for you guys? Because I looked at some of the videos. You guys moved down here. There was 9 of you in a house. I just loved the grind of it. There was air mattresses everywhere. But there definitely was probably a business reason of why we should move to LA from San Luis Obispo. So what was the process like and how has that helped you?
Yeah, I think, it was, in San Luis Obispo, we felt detached. And, it's great. It's a great place to work. It's a great place to, operate. But at the same time, we felt detached from, these new markets that we wanted to go into. And we knew we got to go there. We got to give it everything we have. It's like there's no point in trying to launch in the Los Angeles market, and we're all in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
And like,
doesn't make sense.
It's not authentic again. It's like it goes away from our whole where we're trying to go and the authenticness of what we're trying to do. And it just made complete sense for us, and we knew that we really wanted to take LA to the next level, and this is really where we wanted to be our base of operations and our home. And we just had the idea that there's going to be so much more impact when we're there, and we'd be missing out on huge opportunities if we weren't. And the amount of connections and opportunities we'd see from doing it would be huge. And so that's it made complete sense. And it was definitely risky in the sense of like people, it's uncomfortable. Like I felt, I was asking a lot of the team at the time. Like that's a big,
you gotta
big
move.
thing.
People are packing up their lives and really fully on board, believing in what you're creating.
Exactly. It tells you, it just tells you the grit the team has and how much they believe in it. And so like that, it was an awesome time, and it was an interesting experience, especially all being in that house together. It was pretty funny.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge with doing that, like moving to LA with a new business and trying to get the word out? What for you has been a big challenge?
Big challenge? I mean, it's just the daily grind. Don't let things get you down, man. There's an opportunity around every corner. And so it's what we talked about earlier. Like if something goes wrong, it's all good. Like just keep going, keep going. And like eventually you're going to, I always looked at it like you're hitting a wall, and you're going to keep hitting that wall, and then eventually you're going to knock the wall down. And so just don't let,
anything
get in your way. Yeah, don't let anything get in your way. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me. Is like I'm not going to let anyone get in my way, and I'm not going to let the negativity bring me down. If they're just little things here and there, don't let it build up and affect you, because it's just life. It's the way it is, and you got to every successful business or every disruptor or new business. There was massive amounts of challenges they had to go through, but it was the people at the helm just did a great job of not giving in. Go, and don't let anyone tell you can't do it. So.
I think the energy of being out here too is something priceless.
For sure.
I'm sure being based in Venice, you make a connection by just running to a coffee shop or just being out here is priceless. And just there's just so many people like doing these things. It's inspiring. And sometimes I think it can be overwhelming because it can get competitive within like, they're trying to do this, but I'm trying to do that. And I just think that competitiveness and energy of what LA has to offer, it's amazing, man.
I agree.
Just like there's so much opportunity out here. Like if you figure out your lane and you kind of just keep your head down and be good to people and, don't ask too much from others and kind of just be patient with everything in the process of whatever you're trying to build. People will look out for you in your best interest.
Exactly.
And when the time comes, they'll happily send you that alley-oop.
And
if you're ready for it, you got to jam it down. You know what I mean? But
it's super true, man. Yeah, it is. It's this is a great environment. There's a lot of great people here, going for it, and that's contagious. And so that's another big thing about it. So it makes it easier. I think a lot of people look at LA like it's the city of vices. It's almost like Vegas in a way of like, man, like how do you stay focused? Like for outsiders looking in, but you get here and you're like, man, there's a lot of great people here, and a lot of just good people who are easy to communicate with, are excited about what you're doing, and just they're going for it for themselves. And like I said, it's just contagious. It keeps it easy to stay in your lane and keep going.
Once again, it's that switch. Are you gonna allow yourself to compare to yourself what everyone else is doing, or are you just gonna look at that and use it as a fuel to the fire of like they're making shit happen? That's inspiring. If they're doing it, so can I. Whatever it might be, I'm gonna let that just fire me up and keep me fueled up and going.
Exactly, man. It's we all have the problem. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't compared themselves to someone else. Like as much as we all say we don't, it's like, man, we all compare ourselves to other people, and again, social media it makes it way too easy for people to do that, and so that can affect you. But for me, it was it's the I against the I mentality, and always I've just tried to ingratiate it in myself until I don't think about anyone else. I don't really care. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Like,
you got to do what's best for you.
You can look at titans of industry, people doing really great things. Like they're not me. They made it. They fought against themselves to get there. And so you don't ever compare it like, oh, my company is not as successful as this company, or my podcast isn't this podcast. Fuck that. It's like I am what I am. And I'm gonna make it through what I got to do. Exactly.
I'm gonna own it.
Exactly.
So right now you guys are you're based in LA, but the app is available in LA, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara. Is there any other cities that I'm missing?
Yeah, we're in the midst of launching San Diego.
So we have San Diego next.
Yeah.
What other cities are you looking at for 2019?
Yeah, we're looking at Seattle. That's another great opportunity. Denver as well, and then San Francisco. So we're kind of, we're in a place where we don't have a specific timeline for that. We really want to grow out Southern California, and I think that is the name of the game right now, to make sure we really execute Southern California to the degree we want before,
and just replicate that process to every other city.
Exactly, before moving resources elsewhere.
How do you assess if a city is ready for Adventure Aide? Because literally every city in the country, Adventure Aide could be there. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. There's a lot of things that locals could bring to the community.
Totally.
But how do you know Seattle's the next step, or San Diego?
Oh yeah, so we have a lot of inbound, a lot of people coming in who want to use it, and we have a mechanism on the platform. So when people are out of an area where there aren't adventures, they can vote for their city, and so we've gotten tons of those votes coming in from San Diego, and as well as Seattle and Denver, and San Francisco. So there are tons of inbound. So when you're seeing
people inbound, it's like, all right, we got to start focusing.
Exactly.
On the city.
People want to lead adventures. We've seen those come in. People want to be ambassadors. It's just, you get all these people coming in who want they want to be involved. And I think it really is this community aspect. I think I've just seen it over and over and over and over. People want to be part of a community, and a genuine community that spreads across different locations and things like that. And so it's fun. It's trying to take this digital community into the real world and vice versa. And so it's this unique opportunity. But yeah, it's just a lot of people reaching out.
And I would imagine you probably are always like, I'm ready to get to the next one. I'm ready to get to the next city. But I think it's also important, we need to utilize the cities that we do have and make sure they are perfected.
Exactly.
So that when we take on another city, because I can only imagine what legwork that has to be, finding people that are going to be aides and then getting it actually running. It's we need to make sure that we're ready to go all in instead of just half-assing it and then it doesn't actually get off the ground.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of startups, the majority of startups, they kind of go in a way of putting all their eggs in a basket and grow, and don't think about the details. Yeah. And so I always wanted to take the approach of, no, we have to get it. We're a marketplace, we're not a product where there's no bottom line. It's a challenge. You got to constantly balance supply and demand and try and work out this equation. And so I was really in the mindset of, no, we have to execute a certain region or area really, really well. Like you said, perfect it before moving anywhere else. Cause it's a classic startup way. Grow, keep growing, fail. See you later. To bottom out. It's you can, without question, we could do it and you could see a massive uptick, but it's just, you'd see a massive downtick after. It's you have to understand the process of growth to sustainability and how all these different, there's just so many different parts of the equation. It's just
like one massive equation of seeing
exactly. It's just, you want to make sure you do it right and you don't jump the gun. You don't get too excited and see the shiny object and think you have to do it.
How much value has having an ambassador program brought to you?
Oh, a ton. It's I call them the cheerleaders. That's not the best word to describe it, but they're like your brand loyalists. They just care, man. They're just want to be part of it in any way possible. Whether it's doing a little community event and a bonfire on the beach, or they just love engaging and wanting to be part of something. And they'll spread the word all day, every day. And it just makes it fun. You feel like you have all these people on the ground you can use, to spread the word and build out these communities. So it's definitely a lot of, they've had a tremendous amount of impact.
Yeah. And I think it's when you find somebody that genuinely believes in it and really loves it, if you give them that little bit of communication line of hey, thanks for, supporting us. Here's maybe a comp on your next adventure, or here's a t-shirt for rooting for us so much.
Exactly.
That speaks loudly because they're telling anybody and everybody about you.
Exactly.
And that's money that's being saved. It's like a win-win. You're getting more exposure because they're talking about it so much. Yeah. But then two, they're building a relationship with the company or brand that they genuinely love.
Exactly. And there's a lot of, great collaboration we get from it. So we have photographer ambassadors. They go out and shoot adventures for us. They shoot events for us. Then we have writer ambassadors who will go out and write about adventures or write about their town, or write about it. Just different cool aspects. And so there's a lot that you get out of it, and a lot of fun. Community building, and all this content you can engage with, and that benefits everyone. So it makes it really fun.
Yeah. I have read online that your number one bucket list item is to climb Mount Everest.
Everest, yeah.
What is holding you back from doing it? What needs to happen for you to?
So no, I'm climbing Denali in Alaska as my first step.
Okay.
Before I do Everest. I mean, Everest is just a big investment. And so it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when for me. It's,
what's the comparison of Denali to Everest? What are the sizes?
Denali is 19,000. Everest is 27,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's they're different. Everest has turned into almost a tourist attraction where it's beginning to be almost like a Disneyland line kind of thing. It's weird. You wouldn't expect it.
Has that changed in like the last 10 years or so?
Yeah, last like 10 years. So it doesn't have the further, like doesn't provide the challenge that it once did, but it's still something I have to say I want to do. But Denali is more in the realm of like a full, it's an expedition. Like you're going into the snow and have to take the dogs out there and find your way.
And how long will that take if done?
Done right? Yeah. I mean, it's about 3 weeks altogether.
Up and down.
Up and down. And just getting in there and out of there and even making sure timing's right.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. Yeah. That. How much money does something like that cost? Or Everest, if you know.
Everest is expensive, man. Everest can be as little as like $30,000 up to like $100,000. Like some people, it's weird. People go, it's all bougie and like people will take up
don't
craft
tell me
food.
Are you kidding me?
That's weird, man. I'm telling you, people like. It's got coming in, but turned into a tourist attraction. But at the same time, you can still do it for a lot less. It's just that's what I want to do it in, the most challenging conditions I can. I don't want savage. The extra shit. It's a challenge, man. It's like there's no point. You don't need to water it down just because you're homesick and need a sandwich or something.
Yeah. So if you went and did Everest, right? Like how big of a team of people would that necessarily be? Because you're not doing that solo.
No. So you have, you have a guide, and you really would only need one guide, but you're going up in groups. So I mean, no matter whatever way you do it, you're going up basically in these little groups, these little pods of people who are growing up.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And these guys just do it. You need to get one of them on Adventure Aide, dude.
I know. We have a trip to Everest Base Camp on Adventure Aide right now.
Wow.
We can't climb it yet, but yeah, that's a goal.
That's coming.
That's a goal. Yeah. That's one of my goals.
Then you got to be the first one to go out there and be like, all right, I'm gonna climb this thing to the top.
Exactly. So and I just think Everest is the pinnacle of, pushing yourself in the physical world. So it's just something I've always
going back to
do.
the childhood of just that that athletic mentality of pushing yourself and kind of wanting to.
Exactly. Like I have tattoos about it, but like there's certain things I really want to do in my life, especially in the physical world, and I think. That's like my true calling at the end of the day. That's what I love the most.
I noticed the tattoos when you walked in. What is going on? What does it mean? What's the story behind it?
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I mean, there's all kinds of different things, but like the premise of it, the center is this is kind of like my, I don't know. I guess you could call it my bucket list. You want to simplify it to that. But each of these things in this circle represents something I want to do.
Is that Everest right there?
Yeah, that is Everest. And basically, I just want to push myself, and that's all I really care about. And I've always thought that if I can, get out there and push myself in all these different aspects, I will really find out who I am and like what makes me who I am. And I don't know. There's so much benefit for me personally, putting yourself out there on that edge.
Yeah.
And like looking over and, the amount of things that are going through your mind. It's crazy, man. It's just like something that rarely people understand.
And I would imagine having the tattoo is kind of like a contract to yourself of like, totally. I need to find a way to do this. And also just a little bit of a reminder daily of like, yep, that's what I'm working towards. This is something I want to do, or
exactly.
Even
no,
just
100%.
Being an inspiration, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. It's just, it's, a message to yourself to always realize what are you here for? What are you doing? What matters to you?
If you had to write a book today, what would the title be?
If I had to write a book?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. I want to say, shit, man, this is tough. You got me on the spot here. Write a book. Holy shit.
Write a book. Talked about a lot. I'll buy you a couple seconds,
Yeah, buy me a couple seconds.
I mean, there's clearly a lot of passion behind what you do, and even now, just going off of just from the tattoos, like you're very committed, and it's obvious to me that you believe of your own potential, which I think sometimes you have the confidence that you can pretty much accomplish anything in this world.
Yeah.
Which is contagious, but also something that not everybody has. But yeah, I'd be curious, if you had to write a book today, what would you title it?
Either choose love over a desk or find yourself. Simple. Say that. Yeah.
Choose love over a desk or find yourself.
Probably it.
Okay.
I think.
It's a tough question.
Yeah,
man.
it's a good one.
It's
a good one.
I think I've asked a couple people here and there, and it's not easy. And I think, if I was in the hot seat, I probably wouldn't be able to think of anything. So maybe I have to pull it. But I do like both of them. When you're not feeling motivated, how do you pick yourself back up?
When I'm not feeling motivated, the biggest thing for me, I love to take a step back and I personally love to listen to music, sit outside in the dark and at night, stars. What do I have to do? I like the music because it puts my mind in where I want it to be. But just deep breaths, taking yourself out of it, I think that's a good exercise. But in terms of a daily thing that I always like to do, I really love meditation. I think meditation's
gonna ask that.
Really helpful. Really helpful in the morning, especially. Meditation and visualization. So a combination of both of those to me are my big one too. Meditation just calms you down and, like you said, puts you at peace, gets your heart rate lower, and it kind of gets you in that mindset to attack the day. And where instead of, I've done a bad job at times where, you've so much noise and shit coming at you, emails, all this stuff. Man, what do I do? And trying to turn that mindset and be like, no, I'm going to attack the day. This is my day. I'm not letting any of this shit affect me. And meditation can kind of get you in that mind state to be ready to go and calm everything down so you're ready and prepared. And then I really love visualization because I think, there's a lot of people out there who don't believe in visualization and think it's some sham. But I think if you can see something in your mind and constantly repeat it, and even when times are bad, times are good, times are bad, but you have this vision in your mind of who you are and where you're going to go and what you're going to do, and it becomes super clear, especially over time, to where you can think of the littlest details and I'm going to climb Everest. I know exactly what I'm wearing. I know exactly what it feels like. I can feel it running through my veins. That's an example, but just those kinds of things, it puts you in such a good mental state of another thing, I'm going to attack today. This is my day. This is just, everything's building up to get me to where I want to go. And having that combination of both puts you in a good place, calms yourself, but then also you're getting, it pumps you up in a way of no, I'm going this direction and nothing's going to stop me. Yeah. And
meditation has been huge in my life over the last 2.5 years of in the morning, calms me down. When I get back from the gym, it kind of it's the moment before I get into the work day.
Yep.
But to the visualization, it's I don't necessarily know what my bigger picture is. I love everything in the moment right now, so I can visually see this becoming bigger and all the other things that I'm working on becoming bigger. But what I realize is just, one, having that visualization is motivating.
Yeah.
But two, it helps you make better decisions in the day-to-day grind because you end up going, does this help me get to the bigger picture?
Exactly.
Is this going to put me one small step forward towards that bigger picture? And if it's not, then why are you doing it? Get better at saying no.
Exactly.
And that's one thing I'm not afraid. Nope, not worth it. And you had mentioned it earlier too. It's when I love what I do, why wouldn't I want to be working on this? Or no, I don't want to go out to the club or do something. I have things to work on, but the visualization and the meditation, that's key, man.
Exactly.
Super key.
Yeah, it just puts you in a good place. You don't necessarily need to know where you're going to go in terms when you're visualizing things, but it's, visualize what you want, what matters to you most, and what are those things. And it just gets in your head, and there's a feeling of goodness, and you just feel confident, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And like you said, you have that mindset going into the day, and you'll begin to turn away things that you don't actually need.
Yeah.
Shit that's just it's
noise, and it's just pulling you away.
Yeah.
It's just pulling you back.
It's a Band-Aid, it's noise, it's just bullshit. Let it go.
Let it go. What's your definition of success?
Success?
Yeah.
For me, I think it's dude, I don't even look at success, honestly. I look at trying to figure out who I am. That's all I've ever tried to do. And so I'm not even thinking about, it's not money. It's not growth. It's, more personal growth. And I want to know what I'm capable of doing
Yeah.
and how far I can take things. Because at the end of the day, that's all that's going to matter to me. If I'm on my deathbed, at least I know who I am. I know what I did. I know how hard I went. I know what mattered to me, and I know I pushed as hard as I could. And I think there's something I don't know, very exciting to me around that kind of thing. And that's the thing that matters. Like I could, this went really well and I sold it or one day, great, but what the fuck does that mean? Like when I die, like, cool, I can look back and be like, that was sweet.
Yeah.
But, I just want to know I gave it my all and that I did everything I could. And through that process, like I said, it's just very revealing of who you are, of like, what are you capable of? What do you like in those dark moments? What do you, can you push through at 3 a.m. and try and figure out that answer? Can you, work with an employee who is having an issue? Can you do this? Can you do that? And like those moments, you're really able to identify who you are, why you do it, what you do, and what matters to you most.
Yeah. I think it's like, that like the success is a tough question for a lot of people to answer, but I think pushing yourself to become your ultimate potential, I think is a lot of success for people like yourself that are, out there trying to build the next greatest app, trying to be the next big podcaster, best music manager. It doesn't matter. I think what I've found and seen in a lot of people that have found like that passion is like their success is just seeing themselves grow to their greatest potential.
Exactly.
It's not the money. It's crazy because the money just kind of happens. It kind of just shows up along the way.
Yeah.
For the people that double down and get really good at that one thing. But
100%.
when they go on this journey of like just trying to become the best version of themselves, that ends up being their success.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Everything else is surrounded by them.
100%. It's reaching your potential and digging so deep into, what you're attracted to, what matters to you.
Yeah.
And just attacking that all the day, every day. And it's just repetition. And then,
punch in the bag.
Like you said, then it's money or those kinds of, other successful things that people relate success to come from, they're just, they come from that ability to keep pushing on those things and keep hammering away. But it's just that passion that gets you there. And like, have you ever read Creativity Inc?
Mm-mm.
It's about the founders of Pixar.
Oh.
But there's a good one on Netflix. If you just type in Pixar.
It's a documentary, right?
Yeah.
I came across it the other day and I almost watched it and I didn't.
You definitely should.
I'm already sold.
No, you definitely should. Because it's like, they're the perfect example if you go through it. Because these guys, do you think they cared about money? Fuck no. They didn't. They just wanted to make a digital, a 3D cartoon.
Yeah.
That was all they wanted, and they were hell-bent on it from the freaking 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah.
And then they made it happen, and they made it happen over and over and over, and then they reaped huge benefits from it. But it's just really cool. It's cool because it's such a childish thing. It's such a childish passion, and it's something these guys held on to through their whole lives, and you get to hear about why they're doing it, and like that level of care and passion. I mean, like, you can't beat that. And it's so counter to like cold black and white B2B business, and they were able to create something that's created so much value just out of their passion as children.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And at the time of them building that, I'm sure everybody's just this big question mark of like, what are you trying to build? Like, what?
People,
nobody's gonna buy into this.
Question it. They'll never be good enough.
Yeah.
No one's gonna actually watch it. It doesn't matter. Dude, it's just.
And they saw through the vision.
Yeah, it's just experience. I mean, you got to experiment. Like, it's the people who are curious. Yes. You have to be curious because that's gonna just push you out there and those kinds of things. They're the people who make it. They're the people who create things that change the world.
Yeah.
And like, that's what it's all about.
I think that's the key is reminding, and it's very easy to forget, but like literally everything around us was just an idea at some point.
Exactly.
And when you realize that, it's like, oh, so anything's really possible because these were all just ideas that probably nobody believed in, and it's just somebody that saw through the vision and doubled down and believed that they could create it.
Exactly. It's totally true.
What do you think Connor's purpose is?
My purpose? Fuck. I've always thought my purpose was, like I said, to push myself as hard as I could, or, as far out as I could. And I always thought that I could, honestly, maybe this is selfish or I don't know. I always thought I could help other people realize their potential by showing how far I could go.
Yeah.
And like how, just how out there, how, doing things that people don't think are physically possible or just they never thought could be done and executing on them. And I've always just thought there's so much benefit to that. And like, there just needs to be more people out there like that. And there already are a lot, obviously, you know, it's great to see. And like, those are inspirations to me, but just showcasing to people that anything's possible. And he's constantly reminding them that, you know, you don't have to be fit into a little box to get things done. You don't have to mold yourself to what people tell you to do. Like, just go out and do what you want to do.
And that is kind of the one big pro of the social media now, is that it's all being documented, and you can see people in real time making things happen for themselves.
Exactly.
And being authentically themselves and not being afraid to show their journey or the struggles. And then it becomes like you're seeing it in real time. And I don't know. That's what inspires me. People like yourself and other guests that I get into the show, it's like, they're doing it. Like, they're in the process of it. They went through that same point where nobody believed in it, or they didn't know what the hell they were doing, and then they just saw it through and they kept going. But yeah, I don't know. I think that is one of the biggest pros of the internet now, is like, you can see it happen.
Yeah. And you do get a lot of genuineness. You know, there is a lot of benefit out of it. And like you said, it's being able to see the ups and the downs and seeing people who are real. Like, that's incredible. Like, you know, I'm the same way. I don't need to sugarcoat anything. Like, it's like, dude, I'll tell you my ups and my downs. Like, I have to go through shit like everyone else. Like, it's not all, you know, it's not all peaches and rainbows here. It's like, sometimes you got to do hard things. And so it is super beneficial. And just to know that you're not the only one. It's like, man, everyone has to do this kind of stuff, especially the people who are trying to go out on a limb and do something on their own and create something.
Something great. It's not easy. It's not
so
easy.
much challenge. Yeah. So it's an up and down ride.
Before I get into the closing questions, this is when I reverse the role. I allow my guests to ask me any one question about something we talked about today, something you want to know about me. 2 rules. 1, it can't be a question that I already asked you today. Okay. And then 2, it can't be directly about the podcast. Any one question.
Oh, man. Yeah, those are okay.
Got to keep it interesting, man. The problem is, in the beginning, I always it was like, who's been your favorite guest, or like, it became like a repetitiveness. Yeah. And so I kind of threw that out. And then the other one of being like, I don't want people to reverse the question because it's a little too easy. Like, oh, he asked me this, let me use that one again.
Let's see.
Any one question.
Yeah. Just one?
If it's 2 parts.
Let's see.
Whatever's coming off the top of your head. If you have something, go ahead. I'll answer a couple.
What's your family think of you moving to LA and doing all this stuff?
Well, you know, the thing is, fortunately, I had been warming them up to moving out here for a long time. I told you before, I had been, I think, itching to get out here since I was in 5th grade. Yeah. So I always was kind of like planting the seed. I moved into LA. And there was even a point when I didn't get into the school that I graduated from. I ended up transferring to it. Another story for another time. But I was like, Mom, I didn't get into the school. I'm moving to LA. I'm going to Santa Monica Community College. And they like laughed at me like, yeah, okay, like you're going to do that. But so for a long time, I kept planting the seed, and they were kind of getting warmed up to the idea. But I think one, they were very supportive of me moving out here. But 2, I think what made them feel a little bit more comfortable is I was moving out here with one of my best friends, the one that I grew up with. Totally. And they knew him like another brother to me. So I think that comfortability of knowing he's going out there with someone he knows and we know, but also he's been talking about this his entire life. It wasn't like one day I called my parents and I said, hey, I'm moving to LA. You know, that's a little bit different. Totally. But it was tough because I have a younger sister, 2 years younger. I don't know how the odds are that this happens. The same day, 2 years younger than me, same day my sister moves out of our house to move down to South Carolina, was the same day I packed up my car to move to LA. Oh, jeez. So the nest is empty. They were not happy about that. I can imagine. That's, shell shock. But I think they're generally happy. They came out to visit me last March, so it was nice and sunny out here where it was cold on the east. But, they wish they were here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It is a little bit weirder being, 3,000 miles from home at times, but I try not to think about it too much.
Yeah, it's always playing flat away.
Yeah. So, any other questions, or is that it?
What do they think of the podcast?
Say it more time. What do they think?
Yeah, what do your parents think of the podcast?
I think when I told them I was starting a podcast, they had no idea what I was talking about. Yeah. Like, what is a podcast? But they're my biggest supporters. Yeah, totally. They continuously push positivity of like, keep doing it. Like they might not even, I don't even know if they listen to a lot of this stuff. They see a lot of the Instagram clips and all that, and all that jazz, but they support it. They kind of going back to what I had mentioned earlier. It's like growing up, my father and my mom too, but my father, I just religiously remembering me be watching sports or something, and he would talk about somebody that didn't like their job, or I don't know what it would be, but he always would say, I don't care what it is you do with your life. Like, as long as you love it, me and your mom will always support you. And so I just got very blessed because if I didn't have their support from the jump, I see friends of mine that their parents told them to go get a job when they got out of college. And I had friends that literally told me, like, I'm working at this company because my parents are making me. Yeah, and that blew my mind.
That sucks.
That blew my mind. So they've been my biggest supporters. And I think they believe. I mean, they know that their son, the bearded man's gonna be a star one day. But they helped me a lot. And
nice.
So man. I think they've enjoyed seeing the process. And my father was actually the 33rd episode of the podcast.
No way. 3-3.
Yeah, 3-3. He was a big Larry Bird fan growing up.
No way. I love that.
So all my friends know him as Bird. And I mean, literally, I call him Bird. I don't even call him Dad or anything because that's just how he's always been. So as like a tribute to the number 33, I figured why not bring him onto the episode. So
that's sweet, man.
Yeah, it was cool to get him onto the show. I think he wants to come back for a round 2, so we might have to pump the brakes a little bit on that, but maybe one day we'll get him back.
There you go.
Closing questions for you.
Yep.
1, where can people find you on social media, and where can they find Adventure Aide on social media?
Yeah. For me, you can find me on Instagram. I'm not an advocate of like Twitter and all that shit. It's too much for me.
Keep it IG only.
I keep it simple, man. That's too much noise.
Yeah.
In terms of Adventure Aide, though, you can find them on us. Excuse me. Find us on Instagram, YouTube as well, Twitter. You know, across everything. Pinterest. We do a lot of Pinterest.
Let's go.
So we're everywhere. Yeah, we're everywhere on that. But definitely, follow along. YouTube and Instagram are definitely our biggest ones. A lot of videos.
Yeah,
a lot of
YouTube
good stuff.
big. I like the YouTube content, so I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of traction there. I think a lot of the people that pay attention to this podcast are visual creators or like visual stuff. So if you guys go check out his stuff, drop a couple Bearded Man emojis on his posts to let him know the Bearded Man sent you. I'm riding this wave of Bearded Man.
I love the Bearded Man.
I know.
I love that.
Before I ask the last question, thank you for coming in today.
No, of course, man. Thank you.
This has been an incredible podcast, just kind of hearing your story, and even I appreciate you even opening up on kind of like the whole process of like college, and then that dark path of like trying to find yourself. I appreciate you even opening up about that because that's a sign of respect to me.
Yeah.
And that I don't take that lightly.
No,
that
totally.
means a lot to me. And just about everything that you guys are doing at Adventure Aide, I love it. I've never been somebody that really was adventurous.
Yeah.
But I love the intent. I'm personally getting better at enjoying more experiences in my life because for a long time I've been too head down.
Yeah.
And so I think the intent and the why of what you have created and your team is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's just going to keep thriving. And I hope that 1-2 listeners from here get exposed to it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know this existed and checked it out.
That'd be cool. That'd be rad.
It would be awesome for me. So thank you for taking the time.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna, like I said, open book. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. It's we all have our own stories, and it's starting a company or doing anything in life, man. It's not easy, and we all have ups and downs. So it's like I ain't gonna act like the downs weren't there either.
Yeah, man. Keep it real. Last question for you. For somebody that's listening, hasn't found that passion, hasn't found their purpose just yet, what's the best 2 to 3 pieces of advice you'd give to them?
Yeah, I'd say number 1, curiosity. You have to be curious. Go out and try things, do things, research, whatever it takes, man. Go just switch your mind and do.
Yeah.
Like, we can all sit here and look at YouTube, look at whatever, in the internet in general, and do a bunch of research. Like, one day I'm going to do that. But no, if you can take the time to at least have something you're curious about and be like, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man. If you can get out there and just the act of doing, it means so much. There's so much value. You're going to get so much out of it. And I think that is, it's been a huge impact for me personally. And then from there, it's just, I think it's just be as curious as you can until you find what something that sticks to you. And then from there, it's just give it everything you have. Like, it's just, if you're passionate about it, then there's no point in holding back. Go as hard as you physically can, and surround yourself with people that are doing the same thing or are going for it at the same level you are. And I think that you're the sum of the 5 closest people to you, and I think it's really, really important to be around people who have the similar mindset, and I think that'll help people thrive as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
Connor Woolpert.
Yeah, man.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you, man.
We'll catch you guys next time. See ya.